welcome to day 4 of our social media bootcamp. And today we're going to talk about the big question, to follow or not to follow, right? That is the question. Should you be following your teen online in all their activity? Or should you trust that they're doing okay, or say, you know what, that's really none of my business. They can do whatever it is that they do. Or I want to follow, but my teen won't let me, right? My teen won't become my friend on Instagram. I hear that a lot. So I'm already going to put this up front. I'm not going to talk about specific following or, devices that exist out there. Okay, first of all, because we don't have enough time to do that in the short time that we have. And because what I want to do, I think, is a lot more important, is to encourage you to think about what should you be doing and what's really important. So let's get started. So the actual question that we're going to think about today is, should you be following your teens at all, right? And the basic question is, the answer to that question is yes, you should. To what extent and how, I'll talk about in a minute. But let me explain why I think that this is really important, because I know there are a lot of different philosophies out there. So the analogy that I like to use a lot when I talk about following your teens online is driving a car. Right? Your teens, all of them at some point are going to be getting a driver's license. And it wouldn't occur to you to just give your kids the keys to the car and say, "Hun, good luck. I hope you learn how to drive and do it safely. I'm totally sure you're going to be fine. Good luck. See you later." You wouldn't, right? That's insane. Nobody would give a teen a car without teaching them how to drive, teaching them the rules of the road, teaching them what to do in different climate conditions. Right? How do you drive when it's snowing? How do you drive when it's raining? How do you park the car safely? What are the things that you need to be aware of? What do different road signs mean? And, speed limit, drinking and driving. You would talk about all these things before you let them get on the road. It's the responsible thing to do as a parent. The same thing comes to social media, right? You can't just give them a Wi-Fi enabled device. And this is really important here. This is not just a phone. This is a Wi-Fi enabled device. And some of you may be sitting here going right now, my 4-year-old has a Wi-Fi enabled device. Yes, any Wi-Fi enabled device, first of all, as if they had a phone. Second of all, any Wi-Fi enabled device allows them access to everything and anything. Right? I was visiting a friend not long ago who's got a 5-year-old, a very curious 5-year-old. And I happened to walk into the room when she was on the iPad. And let's just say that what she was watching on YouTube was extremely inappropriate. So it doesn't matter how old they are. If they have a Wi-Fi device, then you should be thinking about this question. I don't usually work with kids who are 9-year-olds, but I did work a few years ago with a kid who was 9. And on a totally random conversation that we were having, she was on her iPad, right? I was in my home. I work with my clients remotely most of the time. And she's like, "I have to go, right? I have a recording to do." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "I have this app where I record music with my friends. It's really great." And, just nonchalantly, I said, "Well, does your mother know about this?" And she said, "Well, of course not." I said, "Really? Because the iPad's hers." She said, "Yeah, I just erase the app every time I give her the iPad back, and I put it back on when I'm done." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." So there was clearly a continuation to that conversation, but this was totally normal to her. She didn't even think she was doing anything wrong, right? Another client that I have came to me after the mother found some inappropriate texting on her daughter's iPod, right? It wasn't even an iPhone. It was just an iPod. Why? Because once you have Wi-Fi, your kids can make phone calls, they can access all the apps, they can do everything that they would do even without a phone. So if you're just thinking, "Oh, I need to worry about it when they have a phone," no, my friends. As soon as they have Wi-Fi access, that is when you need to start thinking about these questions. So as I was saying, in the same way with a car, you want to teach them the rules of the road and how to behave appropriately. You want to do the same thing when it comes to using a cell phone, right? Or using a Wi-Fi enabled device. So a lot of the parents that I know have some kinds of rules and regulations about their phone. Usually it's around how much time a day they can spend on their phone, which is very important, right? It's important because of what's going on in their brain. It's important because it allows them to have downtime and connect to people in real life. And that's great, but that is just the basics and just the beginning. I recommend a much more comprehensive set of limits and regulations to help your teens, because what's going on in their life at this time is they're getting a burst in their brain, another burst of learning and cells and growth. And what they use and what they focus on at this age is what they're going to be left with for the rest of their lives. So if they're online all day, then there's going to be a huge impact on their learning capabilities, on their interest, and where they end up later on. Okay, so this is important, not just because it may drive you crazy that your kid is on their phone all day. We talked yesterday about boundaries, right? Creating boundaries that work. And that is part of the conversation here, is how to create something that really is going to work. We're going to talk more in a couple of days, right, about the things that you need to be aware of that your kids are being exposed to as soon as they are connected to Wi-Fi devices, and what you need to know about it, right? We're going to talk about porn. We're going to talk about sexuality. Prepare yourself now, because it may be a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation. But I don't want to talk about the exact details. I just want to talk about how and when you decide to follow. So in an ideal world, right, where you had wonderful open communication with your teen, they always came to you with anything they saw, any problems that they had, they were never worried about the consequences because they knew it was more important to talk to you, then I would say, yep, you should follow them for the first year or two, and then you're done. You're good. But for most of us, since that's not quite how it looks in our house, even in the most communicative and best of homes, and because your teen is at a stage in life where pushing boundaries and hiding is very likely, then you want things to be different. Now, the answer to how to follow and what it looks like is going to be different in every home. Why? Because every kid is different, right? And as we said, in earlier days, what goes on in real life is going to go on online. And so you want to be very mindful and pay attention to what's really going on in their real life, so that you can be more aware of how much do you actually need to follow, right? How on top of things do you need to be? Your number one goal when it comes to following is remembering that your goal in following is not to decide for them what it is they're posting or what that looks like, but to make sure that they're making good decisions and good choices and using this very powerful tool in a responsible way. That's what you're trying to do. Remember that teens are trying on different personalities, so they may be saying things on social media that aren't true. They may be seeing things about you that aren't totally true. Pick your battles. Decide where you want to invest your time and energy. Let them take on different personas. Let them say things that are nonsense. I always say that my rule of thumb is, if your kid isn't hurting somebody else or harming themselves, then you're fine. Let them do it. Let them use their imagination. Let them do some crazy stuff. It's fine. It's part of who they are. It's their way of expressing themselves. And so how do you actually decide, right? How do you know what's right for you? So first of all, your gift for today, and you can see it on today's page, is a list. I prepared a list for you according to age. What are the things that you should be thinking about and deciding how to follow, and what's true for everybody no matter what their age is. So I'm not going to spend our time now repeating that right now. Just go there, download it, take a look at it, use it. Okay, use it as your guideline. But the questions I want you to ask yourself is as follows. How old is your child? What stage are they? Are they pre-phone? Did they just get a phone? Are they like way on their way and they've had a phone for a long time already? What rules do you have right now? Are those rules working? Are you actually implementing the rules? So many times we spend the time, we write down the rules, and then we never follow up on them. So are you actually following up? To what extent does your child share with you what's going on with them in real life and what's going on with them online? Do you know what apps they're using? Do you know what they're involved in? Be honest with yourself, okay? Be really honest with yourself on whether you actually know or don't know. How responsible are they in real life, right? Are they responsible kids that, you find for the most part are really doing their stuff? Yeah, they falter every once in a while. They're totally age appropriate, but for the most part, they're super responsible. Or are they kids that aren't so responsible yet, and they're still in the process of learning that, right? How do they respond when you give them consequences? Do they respond well, or are they fighting you all the time? Are they very secretive? If you say, I want to be your friend on Instagram or on Snapchat, how likely are they to say, yeah, I'm willing to be your friend? Or do they say, I don't want you your friend, or it's none of your business, or stay out of my stuff? All this will give you an indication on how much you actually need to follow them, right? Because if they're being really secretive, there's usually a reason. Okay, if they don't want you on their Instagram page, there's usually a reason, right? And one of the things they often don't remember is that what's online is not private. It's not. Text messages are private. Other than that, when you put something up on Instagram, anybody can see it. As soon as you send something on the phone, by the way, even a text message, it's done in privacy, but the person on the other side can easily turn around and share it with the world, right? So remember to ask yourself honestly all these questions in order to determine should I or should I not follow, right? That is the question. Some of you may be saying to yourself right now, maybe it's too late, right? My kid's 16, my kid is 17. They've had a phone for a long time already. It's totally out of control. Is it too late? And my answer to you is it's never too late. Will it be harder? Yes. Are you going to have to be a lot more sophisticated about how you go about it to be successful? 100%. But it's never too late, okay? And especially if your kid is about 14 or 15 and they've had a phone for a couple of years and things are starting to get out of control, this is a good time to say, you know what? We've kind of let it go as it is, and we realize that that was a mistake because X, Y, Z are happening, and it's time for us to rethink it. Are your kids going to like this? No, they're not. They're not. It's just the way it is, but you're their parents, and it's your responsibility to be proactive and not just wait for things to show up. Why? Because if you do, it is going to be too late. So what is your action for today? What's your task for today? Download that list, take a look at it, and I want you to actually mark for yourself, based on the age of your kids, what is it that you already do, and what is it that you still need to do? Feel free to share in the group. Let us know where you're at. Let us know what you need help with. We're here to help. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow on day 5. Bye.